What's up, everybody? Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL. I am going solo. This is your commissioner, Nate. Thanks so much for tuning in. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what happened. We had kind of a scheduled time, but life happens, things happen, and my two buddies couldn't make it today. And so, it's summertime, right? Everybody's so super busy. There's all kinds of really big things going on in personal life and real life and family and friends and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to fly solo. It's still super important to me that I get these out to you and that we get them ready for you. So my internet's acting a little crazy. I don't know quite sure what's up, and so you have to be a little patient with me as we kind of figure this out. But trying some new stuff, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We just advanced to week number 11. Literally about 5 minutes ago, maybe 10 minutes ago. So we're going to look at weeks 9 and 10 instead of weeks 8 and 9 like we originally planned. Lots of really great games. A lot of sim games this week, which is just kind of par for the course that happens throughout the summer. Even for a year-round league, again, real life comes first, and guys are super busy taking the kids to the beach, going on vacations. Family members are coming over for barbecues. So we wanted to make sure that we still keep this truck rolling. Please, please, please put in the effort to get your games in. We totally understand that if you're, 2-7, 3-6, 4 and I don't know, whatever the math is, 4 and 5, put in the effort, get your games in. Nobody wants to play the CPU. This last season still counts. I remember winning my, one Super Bowl that I won, and it was during one of these, off seasons where it was the last season and people were like not putting forth a whole lot of effort. So look, put in the effort, please, so that we can make sure that the guys who are trying and that we get like an accurate representation of what this league is. Tons of new Madden 19 news is out, but that's not what we're going to cover. Maybe we can cover that back when my guys get back and we're able to do a show all together. Just as a little early plug, we will be doing a Daddy Leagues podcast either late tonight or tomorrow. So make sure that you tune in and support that. Let's get to why we're here, though. Let's get to week number 9. We'll cover some scores for you. You got the Bills falling to the Patriots 24-10. You got the Chargers beating the Broncos 31-23. The Bengals 31, the Buccaneers 10, the Raiders 13, the Chiefs 10. The Titans win 19-17 against the Texans. The Cardinals beat the Saints 30-24. The Cowboys with a 31-24 victory over the Colts. The Eagles with a 22-16 victory over the Redskins on the road, nonetheless, a big victory for them. The Jets with a 20-14 victory over the Dolphins. The Panthers 13, the Lions 10, the Seahawks 20, the Giants 6, and the Seahawks still are unbeaten. 24-20, the Steelers beat the Ravens. And then finally, for your Week 9 game, 33-7, the Vikings beat the Packers. It was the Packers. Let's go to the Week 10. Let's look and see what those scores came out. Again, a lot of sim games this one, so I'm probably going to pick my game of the week from week number 9. But the Seahawks beat the 49ers 28-6. The Cardinals with a 19-14 victory over the Broncos. The Chargers 34, the Chiefs 0. The Patriots 31, the Lions 28. The Jets 16, the Steelers 13. The Bears with a 27-25 victory over the Packers. We will be talking about that game a little later. That was definitely a CPU game, but some maybe questionable things going on. The Bengals with a 50-10 victory over the Panthers. That one's a little bit of a shocker. The Panthers have had such a great season. The Browns, 28-14 victorious over the Dolphins. The Buccaneers 36-26 over the Rams. The Falcons 34, the Saints 6. That one was brutal, and the last game that was just on about an hour ago. The Giants 37-7 over the Eagles. The Raiders 26, the Titans 17. The Ravens 14, the Bills 10. And then finally, your last game for week number 10, the Texans 27 and the Jaguars 21. I scrolled up a little too fast there. Let's go back and look at week number 9 since I know that there weren't quite as many simulated games. There were some really good games, and you know what? I may end up picking one that was actually a simulated game, but I'll try my best not to. You got to look at the Eagles coming away with a 22-16 victory over the Redskins. That's really impressive. The Redskins have played so well this year. The Eagles have really struggled with the new settings, as a lot of us have, and that team has really been up and down. Plus, he gets to take some vacation time, so I'm pretty sure he's ready to unplug and probably not doing the effort that he has in the past. The Jets with a big victory over the Dolphins on the road. They've had a pretty good season, but the Jets have won a couple games here now in a row, and they're looking really, really good. The Ravens were able to keep it close against the Steelers at home, but finally the Steelers come away with a victory. And then the Vikings, that was a bit of a shocker. The Packers have played so well up to the last couple of weeks, but with a 33-7 victory, you just didn't see that one coming. I just thought that was going to be a much, much better game. And then, of course, the Chargers with a 31-23 victory over the Broncos. I'm not quite sure if that game was played or not. That is the game that I'd love to talk about. But again, I worry if it was played or not, because I know that there's been a lot of stuff going on. Let's look at the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Raiders come away with a 13-10 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know the Kansas City Chiefs are 3-6 this year, but this was a playoff team last year, a team that was pushing for a deep run. And the Raiders have been red hot. They've really turned things around. They're sitting at 8-1. And you can see that this is one of those games that really shows why they're playing so well this year, because they were able to win these really close games, especially at home. The Raiders only allowed 40 yards rushing. They had 5 defensive sacks and only 125 yards passing. So that really great defense that just swarmed to the ball and was able to make plays. On the other side of the ball, the Raiders only had 158 yards passing. The Chiefs did a really great job defending the pass. They allowed 97 yards rushing. They only had 2 defensive sacks, so 7 sacks total in this game. But if you look at this offensive percentage here, it was the third downs that really kept Kansas City in it. They were able to keep chewing that clock at 50%, only 43. I say only 43% is really, really good, but third down percentage for the Oakland Raiders. And this was a really tight game. 2 turnovers for the Chiefs, only 1 turnover for the Raiders, and then the penalties, really nothing to talk about there. Let's look at some stats here. You see Mahomes really struggled, 13 of 19, 158 yards, 2 interceptions, though, no touchdowns. Arnaud didn't play much better. Arnaud has been like the head scratcher since coming in. He was so red hot as a rookie back in Madden 17, and really thought he was going to be like that all-time Pro Bowl, like greatest quarterback ever here. And he has struggled. 10 of 16, 172 yards, only 1 interception, but no touchdowns. Allison, though, finally had a really good game, 20 for 86 with the 1 touchdown. On the other side of the ball, really nothing to speak of, only 11 for 39 for Witzel. Got to get that back up, some more rushes. Austin, though, has been a playmaker ever since going over to Kansas City. 6 receptions, 120 yards. Phoenix, 4 receptions, 84 yards. The longer 42 was a really big play in that game that probably set up one of those touchdowns by Arnaud. Looking at this defense, though, Swoop had a sack. Peters had an interception. Rhodes had a sack on the other side of the ball. Robinson had 2 sacks and a forced fumble, so a big game from him. Lofton had a sack. Edwards Jr. had a sack, and then Griffin and Lofton each threw in some interceptions there. So an old-fashioned AFC like defensive game, but the Raiders come away with the victory, and it's a big victory as they try to make a push here in the last season. They come away with it 13-10 to move to 8-1. So really, really big game for them. The things that I wanted to kind of talk about and look at today, we need to go look at the AFC. The AFC, we talked about this last week with D. Wayne. Things have really power shifted since we moved over to all Madden. It's just been intriguing to watch who has made the adjustment a little bit better than others. Again, I apologize for my internet. I'm not quite sure what's up. It may just be my Google Chrome that's acting crazy, and I should have done a little restart before we got going here, but didn't really have the time. Want to knock this out real quick. But part of that power shift has been really in the AFC where, the New England Patriots, who then moved over to Cincinnati Bengals, Cincyberg, really has dominated the AFC since Dux has left the league or when he left the AFC. And there really hasn't been a lot of teams that have been able to step up and challenge him. And this all Madden may have shifted some of that power. Now, the AFC East is still questionable. There's still a lot of teams right there. They're all clumped together. I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to step up. Miami has faded the last couple of weeks. But if you look at the AFC West, the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders have both played well this year. Now, the Denver Broncos have dropped 2 in a row. They were 6-1. Now they're 6-3. That's a little worrisome. But the Oakland Raiders, week in and week out, continue to win. They're sitting at 8-1. They're only allowing 16 points against their team. They're 4-0 at home. They're 4-1 at the road on the road. They're 4-0 in the division, 6-1 in the conference. I mean, that's really impressive numbers there. Always a team that had the potential, but we never seen them actually make that jump, and they've made that jump. Now, Cincinnati Bengals are still right there at 7-2, and then the other team that you got to wonder is the Tennessee Titans at 6-3, and we're actually going to talk about them just a little bit later. But the Tennessee Titans and the Oakland Raiders, the Denver Broncos, even the Colts at 5-4 have an opportunity. The Jaguars you can never count out at 5-4. They just know how to play really great defense, run the ball really well. AFC North is not helping anyone out. It's been a smooth road for the Cincinnati Bengals, but they're not sitting undefeated as they have in the past, right? They are sitting at 5-2. They're 5-1 at home, 2-1 on the road, 2-1 in their division, 4-2 in the conference. What was really the shocker here is that they really have continued to play great offense and great defense. 26 points for, 16 points against. That is the part that worries me a little bit. And so, has the power shifted? Yes, but has it shifted enough where somebody can topple the Cincinnati Bengals? My question is probably no. Even though there are teams that have better records, it's that 26-16 differential that worries me, because when you look at the Oakland Raiders, it's 19-16. Yes, they're playing just as good defense, but not nearly as good of offense. That's a pretty big point spread. The Denver Broncos are the closest at 25-18. It's always been consistency from them. Can they consistently put things together? They just dropped 2 in a row. That makes you question that. The New York Jets at 22-17, 22 for, 17 against, but they're sitting at 6-3. They're 3-2 on the road. They're 5-3 in the conference. So that also makes you scratch your head. Now, we did see last year where the Jets put it all together right as they snuck into the playoffs. They got a wild card. They went on a run, and they actually toppled the Bengals to have an opportunity there. But can they do that again? I just wonder. I'm not quite sure that can happen. And so, has it shifted enough where somebody can topple the Cincinnati Bengals? My answer would be no, but there are definitely some teams that are making this interesting. And as we kind of shift here, we're in week 11. We're going to be on the home stretch. I think by the time the next show comes out, we're going to know much, much more about who is a contender, who's a pretender. We'll even talk about that on the next show as we kind of lay out who we think is going to make a deep playoff run there. Can the Titans continue to win? 22 for, 20 against. That makes you worry. They're 3-2 at home. You got to win those home games. That is a little bit of a concern. I think the team that has the most potential is the Oakland Raiders. I love the Denver Broncos. I love what they've done, but at the end of the day, they're 6-3. Even at 25 points for them and 18 points against, which is super impressive, you're still sitting at 6-3, and you've just dropped 2 in a row. Even if it was some CPU games, 2 in a row is 2 in a row. So you worry about that. You worry what is going to happen there. Can they step up? Can they make it? The team that has proven in the past that they can is the Jets. Again, you're sitting at 6-3, though. Can you make another deep run where you're playing all these games on the road? You might have got the Bengals once. I just worry that you're not going to be able to get them again. Now, talking about teams that have kind of surprised you, let's quickly look at the NFC. The Washington Redskins having a fantastic year at 7-2. Seahawks, always the powerhouse that they are at 9-0. The team to watch for that's won a couple games in a row here, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I don't know what's clicked for them all of a sudden, but they're sitting at 5-4, and they've won a couple big games lately. Chicago Bears at 7-2. No one else in the North has really, push there, which is surprising because the Vikings have been up and down, the Packers have been up and down, and the Lions have kept it close this year. Even though they've struggled on offense, that defense has played much, much better. And then you look at the South, the Falcons and the Panthers are right there, battling it out. The Falcons just are such a solid team from head to toe. That defensive line is stupid good. I don't even know what to say. I've yet to figure out like how he does it, or how do you even compete with that defensive line. They are fantastic. And what will be fun is if we get another Atlanta Falcons, Seattle Seahawks matchup. Two of the best defensive lines we've ever seen in this league, in the history of this league, 21 years almost. It is, or 20 and a half. It is amazing to see these two defensive lines, even without being usured. They're unstoppable. I couldn't imagine if these guys, would have continued to use their D-line, which they don't. They play a lot more linebacker and other things, especially the Falcons. They play all linebacker now, and that defensive line still meets you at the quarterback in half a second. I mean, they're back there. But the team that I really want to kind of turn my focus to, the Chicago Bears, are sitting at 7-2 now. We did talk about them just a few seconds ago. We talked about a game that they had against trying to get this thing to reload real quick. A game that they had against the Green Bay Packers, which correct me if I'm wrong on your own, but I think happened 2 nights ago or last night. It wasn't last night. I think it was 2 nights ago, something like that, where the Chicago Bears couldn't be there to play the game, and the Green Bay Packers ended up having to play the CPU instead of taking a simulated win. And Outlaw watched. I don't know the story. We've asked. We're waiting on some details. Not trying to call Outlaw out. You know we love you. I know there's a lot going on. Outlaw's moving this summer. He's worried about his spot. We're keeping his spot. We'll figure it out. Outlaw is a foundation here, and he's been part of the league since Madden 17. But yeah, if you can't show up for a game, don't watch. Like that, I can just tell you that would irk the mess out of me. If you're making me play the CPU, which is always the worst experience in the world, hopefully it's better in Madden 19. They say that it's going to be better in Madden 19, but right now it's one of the worst experiences that you could ever have. To have that dude watch, oh, God, that would be tough. So my question is, are we buying or selling the Chicago Bears? I'd love to hear your comments and hear what you guys think, but I am selling. Yes, it is impressive, Outlaw, that you are sitting at 7-2, but you've come away with a couple CPU wins, sim wins here. I think clearly you've put together another really great defense. That's never been your problem. You know how to put together defense. Look, they're 3rd in points. They're 3rd in total yards. They're 8th in passing yards, and they're 1st in rushing yards at only 55.3. But I worry about this offense. Trubisky has not had a spectacular year. Let's see if we can come over to the real stats and kind of spell those out all the way so we can see them. But you can see he's only at 57.8%, 2,100 yards, 35 sacks, 11 touchdowns, but 20 interceptions. That's going to be really, really hard to win. Nate Stubblefield, who knows how that guy still has a job in this league, but the Browns built him up, and the Chicago Bears scooped him up this past offseason to be a backup. He's still a very solid player. Jordan Howard and Cohen really are some good running backs. Now, look, their averages are not spectacular, 3.6 and 3.4, but still 350 yards, 262. He kind of dedicates himself to rushing the ball when he's able to play. 7 touchdowns combined. That's not too shabby. I wouldn't be too upset with that. Gales is a big play receiver for him. 43 receptions, 772 yards, 4 drops, and 4 touchdowns with a long of 76. That guy can make big plays. He's a good blocker, and I can't wait till we get Cameron Meredith on our team for Madden 19. Now let's look at the defense. Again, this is where he shines. 4 interceptions for Fuller. Braxton Leak, 4 interceptions. I want to say he's a rookie or maybe second-year safety, if I remember correctly. Let's pull it up real quick. Yeah, he is this year. Is it this year? No. First-round pick. I don't know. He was a pick. I don't know why it says first pick, 63rd round. Maybe he was a free agent or something. I don't quite remember that. Oh, that's what he was. I remember now. He was one of our imports that we did. Braxton Leak. That's right. I knew I just recognized that name. But that guy's playing pretty good football in the back end for him with 4 interceptions. And if you look at the sacks, DeMarcus Lawrence is getting after the quarterback with 13 sacks. Martinez, McLeod's got 7 sacks. Even Black's thrown in 3 sacks. So he knows how to get after the quarterback. This team is able to get off of the ball and stop your run. The problem is, and the reason I'm selling is because he just isn't going to consistently be able to play his games this summer, and he hasn't been able to consistently play his games. And so I think what we're seeing here is a little bit of a facade. I don't think that we're getting the true vibe of what the Chicago Bears are going to be like. Because his owner just isn't able to be here for every single game, and he's picked up a couple of CPU wins, a couple of sim wins, and those are really, really tough. And now I want to talk about another team, though, that has also had a really tough go at it, right? And that is the I always mess this up, LA Chargers. No, they're not San Diego, but I think technically maybe in the game they're I don't know, whatever you want to call them. The Chargers have been one of those teams ever since Dawson has come back over to the AFC or went to the AFC from the NFC. He was the Rams, such a powerhouse in the playoffs almost every single year after he built that team. Goes over to the Chargers, and he's had an up and down Madden 18 like a lot of us have. But the Chargers last year seemed to put it all together. One of the top running games in the entire league. But the swap over to all Madden has not helped his team, has actually hurt his team. And I can't figure this out. I can't figure this game out. I can't figure out these sliders. I'm mind blown. I can't figure it out. Some games it feels better. Some games it feels worse. I have no clue what to do. I completely give up. I'm just trying to keep us going until we can get to Madden 19. But the Chargers are one of these teams, though, that has struggled with the swap over, and it has nothing to do with his gameplay. I just think his team hasn't responded well for some reason. A team that was, I think, 1 or 2 or 3. They were top 3 for sure in rushing yards last year, are now 23rd in rushing yards at 78.9. He's 8th in passing yards. He's found him a quarterback that's going to play really, really well for him. I want to say this is a rookie, but you can see he's sitting at 62.2%. Only 1,283 yards. That's a little worrisome, but 4 touchdowns. The 11 interceptions is a lot. I like the completion percentage, though, for a rookie. That's not too terrible, all right? But then you look at the rushing game. Franklin was a beast last year. Kamara, after coming from the Saints over to the Chargers, was having like 100-yard rushing games. He's only got 65 yards complete on the season on 29 carries. Trucks only 65 yards, only 435 yards for Franklin. I think it's been his average is nice at 4.3, but it's been like a carry thing. He's only got 101 carries, where we've seen some of these other guys are in the 200s. I don't know if that was due to injury or what might have caused that. The 9 touchdowns is really nice, but it's really tough when guys start stacking that box, right? They know that you're going to have to run the ball because you have a rookie quarterback, because you're not able to get the ball downfield, whatever it is. It just makes life a whole lot tougher. Mike Williams has not helped. 6 drops, only 2 touchdowns on the year. The 745 yards and the 44 receptions is really nice, but that's a lot of drops. Madden doesn't always record all of the drops. That's a lot of drops from your team. Philip Dorsett's trying to stretch the field, but he's only averaging 11.6 yards per catch, only 1 touchdown with a long of 26. If you look at the defense, though, this is always where Dawson has shined, all right? 25 tackles for Johnston. Bosa with a great year, 24 tackles, 15 sacks, a forced fumble. He's got guys that get to the ball. You look at Rashad Jenkins. He's already got 6 interceptions and 3 touchdowns. That's mind-boggling. And then Harding's got 6 sacks. 7 sacks. Rivers has 6 sacks. So he's got guys that get to the ball. He's got guys that are making plays on the back end. The defense shows that. He's 4th in yards. He's 3rd in passing. He's 8th in rushing. He has a top 10 defense. But when you look on the other side of the ball, you're not able to rush because guys are stacking the box. You're turning the ball over as much as you're turning the ball over. You're going to give up a lot of points, all right? And he's got 14 points, and now you guys are seeing my son who's now standing and laugh. You're on TV, so I just want you to know that. All right, so he's 14th in points, and that's tough because you're turning the ball over deep. You're giving up a lot of points, and that's really, really going to hurt your team, and that's going to hurt your ability to sorry, I'm looking at my phone trying to get the agenda back up. New iPhones, you got to look at the stupid thing. That's going to be hard to win games, and that shows he's at 3-6. He's really struggled this year, as again a lot of us have. And so the San Diego Chargers are one of those teams about what has gone wrong, and I think it's been the quarterback play, and I think it's been the offense just turning the ball over too many times where you're giving up too many big plays, really deep. Really deep in the red zone or on the offensive side of the ball, and you're just giving up too many points because clearly that defense has what it takes. Let's look at some owner-submitted questions. I'm not sure anything got submitted, but we will take a quick look. Here we go. I should have pulled this up before. This is my bad, but this is what happens when you're trying to quickly do a show together and you realize, oh, yeah, I'm doing this one by myself. So, we didn't get any owner-submitted questions, which kind of stinks, but I guess it happens. Everybody's super busy. So that's going to wrap up the show. Pretty quick show. It was just me. Look, this has been a tough Madden, guys. I could be super negative, as, trust me, I have been in the boardroom, and I've struggled with that, and the guys have done a good job of trying to pull it together. Look, there is some tension building with scheduling these games. Bill is not going to lighten up on anybody. Summer or not summer, there's still an expectation that has to be held here, and that is why he is in that position. And if he rubs you wrong, that's on you. I know he's not trying to rub people wrong. He's Bill, right? And so Bill's doing his job and trying to keep us moving. Do your part. Schedule, communicate, get things posted. Let's get these games played, all right, so that when we get to the playoffs, when we get to our Super Bowl, that we get a real representation of who is in it, right? And that guy who wins it can be proud that he actually still earned it. I think there's going to be some interesting stuff that happens here in these last few weeks as we kind of take a twist and a turn and look at the playoffs of, are the Panthers for real this year? Are the Falcons going to meet the Seahawks in the championship again? Are the Seahawks going to win their, I think, fourth straight? Like we talked about earlier, are the Bengals going to get toppled? Are the Raiders going to step up? Are the Jets going to go on another deep run? Are the Broncos for real this year? Lots of really fun things. The Redskins, an unknown that we're not really talking all that much about. So lots of really great things. Look, we're still producing content. I'm going to get out my game of the week right after this is over. We're still putting stuff out there. New blog posts are going up. Tons of other games are still being played. So look, we're also going to kick off, I think, Big Hurt is kicking off a NBA 2K league. We're going to get the forums and the chats and all that stuff up here this weekend. I was trying to work on it today, but I may not have time because the wife has plans for me. But look, lots of really fun stuff, lots of really good stuff that's going on. Plug in, all right? Plug in. I'm repping the League Crawler shirt today, so I want to shout out to them for the shirt. Repping my Baby Cakes hat. Look, lots of cool stuff is going on. I know this Madden has not been the greatest Madden that we've ever played. Top 3 worst Madden that I've ever played. But it is the game, and this is what we have, and this is what we have to work with. It doesn't dilute the great community that we have. And we have over 100 members now that are playing all kinds of stuff, and people are taking notice. I've got some really cool things in the work. We're going to get some new voiceovers and new intros throughout the summer that I'm working on. Even trying to, look, Madden Bomber League put out some new stuff recently where T.O. gave them a shout out, and I've got some player connections that I'm trying to tap into and see if I can't get a little shout out for us too. Because I believe in this community. I believe in what you guys are and who you are and the content that you create and just the amazing brotherhood feel that we have here. And I want guys to know that if you're on PlayStation, that this is the community that you want to be in, whether you're playing Madden, whether you're playing Fortnite, whether you're playing H1Z1, WWE, doesn't matter what you play, we've got a place for you, and I want you to be a part of it. So look, keep putting that content out. Here is a little spoiler that I'm going to go ahead and put out right now and let you know about, and that is that there will be an award given to every owner who put forth effort this season. So if you were scheduling your games, playing your games, you were active in chat, you were putting out content, there will be an above and beyond award given to you above the incentive plan. So you'll still get your incentive plan, but we're going to give you a little something to say thank you. The board has put in so much work this summer to keep us going and keep things positive. Look, I appreciate the messages after the last podcast of guys apologizing for not being positive. It is what it is. We got to get through it. We're all trying our very, very best. But yeah, for those of you who have been active, who've been giving effort, who've been trying to keep our community strong and healthy, and I think it is, you're going to get above and beyond incentive award, so to speak, when we get to Madden 19. So tons of new Madden stuff out there. This podcast is out. We'll get a game of the week out right after this is over with. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.